anything about Biden being high possibly at his State of the Union speech, but I said because of respect for the office a president. I had to speak up, especially when I have questions. And I would tell the kids, make sure you ask important questions. There's not never a such thing as a dumb question. There's a such thing as a dumb president. Yes, it is. And the way I started catching it was from the beginning as a private investigator of my own right. You pay attention to a lot of things that some people don't. And I said, Biden looking kind of ripped in his blouse. And what is up with that vein popping through his neck? Anybody paying attention to the speech, watch his whole body language. Look at that vein just pop out. You've never seen that vein before. That's why it was so noticeable. I was like, wow, he has veins. And he looked like a little Hulk Hogan up there the fighting for his life while he's talking. And it looked like he found out that everybody was lying to him. His experts, his advisors, all of them. They finally had an intervention. You can tell. They're like, all the time frames we came up in here, this is Biden administration. Finally having the intervention with Joe Biden and Jill Biden. They've been speaking up behind closed doors. They're like, there's no way in hell you're going to win. Trump is going to be president, and you're going to be known as the worst president of your lifetime because you had Barack Obama or somebody behind the scenes leading the charge and telling you what to do. And I just, it's been a while since I seen somebody that jacked up. And I'm talking about in his blouse. I thought at the end of his speech, he was going to stop like Hulk Hogan, start ripping off this blouse underneath his suit. I'm trying not to be funny, but this is how I really saw it. And you know me, if there's somebody who's going to say it, then know it's going to be Merle Rutledge. I don't really bite my tongue, but how dare you be that disrespectful to the office of president and be at that speech high as hell? And this is how I'm going to relate this to everyone. If you never seen anybody take steroids, or if you had a sinus infection or whatever that may be prescribed and it needs a little help with the regular medication, like prednisone and all that. Well, anyway, you can look ripped for a time being and think you got muscle that never came from the gym. Basically, it does change and alter your personality at times. And Joe Biden looked like he was 40, being 80. That's the sign that something is up. And honestly, this is Jill Biden's fault. They have allowed that woman to abuse that man left and right. Nobody is that sick, disgusting, and twisted as that whore Jill Biden. Because after a while, you gotta just tell people, stop it. Just stop it. He looks like a jerk all over the world. We know that's not him in that body. And now everybody looking at me like I've been violating and abusing my husband. And it's really the Democratic Party. What you just saw was the Democratic Party and the length that they would go to keep power, even if it means putting a hamster in the office of president. They would allow anybody that's because remember, it's really about who says yes to them compared to who gives them a hard time getting their way. The Democratic Party is nothing more than spoiled children trying to get their way and have a temper tantrum and can't take no for an answer. That's the Democratic Party right now. And they're allowing things to happen and get so far out of control until they get their way. That's narcissistic behavior. That's toxic behavior. So, any of y'all listening to what I'm saying, nobody in their right mind will put that guy back in office as president of the United States. And you see the lengths that they go to make him be something that he's not. That means they are in the practice and pattern and policy of making anything glitter that ain't gold. And one thing you can say about Merle Rutledge, I may have called it out on Joe Biden, but I damn sure called it out on Glenn Youngkin. So you can't say I kiss anybody's ass because of political affiliation. Trust me, I have dogged out the rhinos way worse than I have any Democrat. That tells you something. That's because I believe my side should be better than what the hell it is right now, looking like the Democratic sister group and having everybody else have to take on that little stain that came from a. I wish I could get the words out of how the GOP looks right now. We ain't those pieces of shit up there in Richmond and DC, Democrats. We ain't. We ain't. We'll sit down, talk to you, and give you some wisdom, and we will hear you out, but we ain't gonna play no nonsense. We the ones y'all come to after y'all been fucking up, clubbing, doing all that type of shit. We understand that because guess what? The real ones is gonna tell you we've been there too. But we also have to grow up too and start putting our priorities, like our family lives, our careers, our dreams, our responsibilities in the forefront. We couldn't continue to act like kids because we had grown up lives and we could not be kids taking care of kids and expect our kids to grow up. That's the only disconnect that's really going on that Democrats is trying to make confusion of. Trust me when I say this. The people that you think is the most liberal, you sit down with them for 5 minutes without yelling and screaming and all that other crap and talk about the issues without mentioning Democrat, Republican, Biden, or Trump, or any of the such. I guarantee you, I guarantee you, you're going to find out people are more on board with you than you ever thought. And the only reason why they haven't talked to you because prejudice created by democratic atmosphere and leadership has caused a paranoia amongst civilized people to discuss topics without acting in a manner that is harmful for all sides. That's toxic relationship. Merle Rutledge is building positive relationship with great vibes. It's great to hear that word. There's nothing wrong with being around positive people who uplift you in any and every way that they can to be better. Not be the same in the same situation, not to cope with it. That's the Democrats want you to do cope. I want you to see the victory. I want you to have your dreams and successes because everybody loves to see that. But what I don't love to see is you hungry trying to rob for your meal. What I don't want to see is a pay dispute end up with tragedy and murder of another human being. What I don't want to see is your business fail. What I don't want to see is you go to your job and then you find out you don't have a job without no warning and without no kind of means to do anything else at that time period but lose a day of work, which is more harmful than ever before. People can't afford to miss one day of work. So imagine walking to your job or however you get there and finding out it's closed. People, this is the reality of what Biden doesn't say in that State of the Union address. Ever since the pandemic and those who led the charge, I could tell anybody with a mask on right now, you probably been sick more with that mask on